That's it. Oh, take us through to YouTube. Close YouTube. Oh, we are live. And I'll press record. And here we go. Alrighty. Just wait a couple of minutes so people are joining us. Good morning, everybody. Morena, welcome. Hello, everybody. It's so nice to see some familiar faces. It's been a while since I've been on here. Filling in, trying to fill the boots of the glorious Georgia, who can't be with us today. We are here with Sarah Trotman, who's the Chief Executive of Business Mentors New Zealand, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about how they've helped over 80,000 businesses across New Zealand for, over 30 years now, Sarah, which is amazing. So I'm going to hand it over to her in a moment. This is live streaming, guys, so feel free to pop your comments in on the chat box and we'll get them throughout if we can. Otherwise, there's plenty of time at the end. And I've got some links as well that I'm going to pop into the chat as we go and on the comment section. And for those of you who are tuning in via Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, feel free to pop your comments in on there. I will have eyes on them and I will get to them.
Both of us, Holly.
All right, and in a moment I'll hand this over to Sarah. Go for it, Sarah, it's all yours.
Thank you, Kat, and what a great joy to be here, and welcome everybody who's attending this session on how to get value from a business mentor. It's incredibly important that every business owner has a mentor. So welcome. I'm just so pleased that you are taking the time to reflect on ways that you can be working on your business, not in it. I know that's a saying that's been around for decades, but it's one that I love. It's just so important that you're focused on the macro issues that are impacting your businesses from time to time. We can very easily get bogged down in the day-to-day running of our business. We're all guilty of that, but incredibly important to take that helicopter view. Running a business is incredibly complex. It takes huge courage. So, from my perspective, it's incredibly important that you reach out to somebody, a business mentor that has experience and can walk alongside you and be a bit of a sounding board for you. So I think one of the things that I would like to share with you before I tell you a bit about business mentors is, I confess I was having a drink in a bar one day with a friend of mine who founded, he doesn't run it anymore, a household name business. I won't mention the name of the business because you'll all know it, but he founded it and he was really frustrated with how a deal was going. And I turned to him. It was a very difficult time for him as he was establishing it. And I turned to him and I said, mate, will you stop talking to anyone that will listen about your business and start talking to people that have actually rolled up their sleeves and taken the entrepreneurial risk that you all do? And he looked at me and he said, gosh, you're right. I speak to my grandmother, I speak to my mother, occasionally I'll speak to somebody like you that's actually rolled up their sleeves and been a business owner before. And I said to him, look, you need to talk to people that have done the sorts of things like rung a friend to say, hey, mate, sorry I haven't talked to you for the last 6 months. I've been head down with my business. Do you mind sticking the payroll on your credit card this week? People that have actually experienced the blood, sweat and tears of being a business owner. So that's incredibly important that you do reach out for support. Now, I think, Kat, what I might do if you'd like is just give a 30-second overview of my own experience. So I left school at 15, actually. My mother was a school teacher and then a principal, and she said, if you don't get school C, you've got to leave school, which I got by about 2 marks. And she said, you're right anyway. And so I left school at the end of fifth form when I was 15 and went to work for a business that I actually ended up having a 15% shareholding in by the time I was 26. It was a multi-million-dollar business and it had 30 staff. And again, by the time I was 26, I was actually running that organization. So it was interesting. I used to go to parties at 26 years old and, people would ask which university I went to, and I was always very embarrassed. I never went to university. I was only a small business owner, and it wasn't until I became a mentor with Business Mentors back then that I realized the incredible experience that running a business gives you, and the incredible skills and the contribution that you make, not just to the New Zealand economy, but of course to the people that you actually employ as well. So then I sold that business, and funnily enough, I went over to run Business Mentors when I was 30 years old. And I did that for 3 years, but I'm an entrepreneur at heart. So I left to establish a business support business. We ran the business expos in Auckland, Wellington and Christchurch and a few other things. And that was the fastest growing business owned by a woman in New Zealand, according to the Deloitte Fast 50. So I had that for 10 years. Then I had a spectacular failure. And I can tell you failure is 10 times harder than success. And I'll never forget Craig Heatley, who founded Sky New Zealand and a number of other businesses, said when on national TV, when he won, I think it was Entrepreneur of the Year, he said, you feel failure 10 times more than you feel success. And that is so true. So then I went and got a real job, and then I did another startup for someone, and then I found myself back at Business Mentors New Zealand when COVID hit. A wonderful organisation, and I'm incredibly proud to lead it. So just an overview of Business Mentors. So we're a national organisation. I was just saying to Kat before we came on this call, I think it's New Zealand's best kept secret. Certainly in the business world anyway, we have 1,800 mentors spread across the country. We can provide mentoring services to any small business owner or not-for-profit leader anywhere across the country. So a not-for-profit that has 1,800 mentors, they have either been a business owner or are a business owner, or they're an executive with some technical skills that business owners are looking for. So of course, when COVID hit, the real demand was for digital transformation, digital marketing skills. So we had a real push on onboarding a lot of mentors with corporate experience that had that deep dive experience in digital marketing. And then there's, so about sort of half of our mentors are business owners or been business owners, and another 25% are executives, and then we have another 25% that sort of are retired from those two categories. And we offer mentoring face-to-face or virtually across the country. So just because you're, in fact, I was looking at a case very recently where a builder in Nelson that had a $1 million turnover had hooked up with a virtual mentor in Upper Hutt and Wellington with a $5 million turnover, because that was the skills and expertise that that particular business owner needed from a mentor. So we do ask business owners pay a $295 registration fee, and that gives them access to that mentor, or we can change out the mentors if their needs change throughout the 12-month period. But it gives you access to a mentor for about an hour or two each month, and that's for a period of 12 months. So the mentors are incredibly generous people. They're, of course, if they are not going to roll up their sleeves and do the work for you, but if you're prepared to put the work in to actually implementing the homework, for want of a better description, after the hour or two that you've spent with your mentor that month, of course the mentor is going to be very responsive to emails and texts and, you know, an extra meeting. So a very flexible approach, really ensuring that what's on offer is meeting your own business needs. And as I say, we do offer virtual mentoring as well as face-to-face. And in fact, one of my favourite mentors is holed up in his batch in Matapori. He's got 20 clients that he sees virtually. And I said to him, "You're retired." You know, he's about 50 years old, just sold his business. I said, "Why are you doing this? Why aren't you out on your boat enjoying the Matapori sea and surf?" And he said, "To be honest, it just keeps me very stimulated. There's a limit to number of days when you're retired that you can spend on your boat or at the golf course." And you're right, Kat, in summary, Business Mentors has been established for 32 years, and it was founded by a number of business people that really found there was very little on offer to support the isolated business owners. And it was championed by the late and great Sir James Fletcher, who was the chair of our Board of Trustees for many years. And of course, he was Fletcher from the Fletcher Empire. And he said, when he heard about Business Mentors, this is an organisation that I must be supporting. If I look at the building construction industry, many of the business owners that make that up are small business owners, whether they're a builder or a plasterer or a jib stopper. Incredibly important for large businesses to be supporting the nation's small businesses. And that's probably a very good segue for me to thank the partners that support Business Mentors. So Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment, Digital Boost, biz.gov, MB, IRD. We've just done a wonderful roadshow with One New Zealand, who are deeply committed to the small business sector, as are ASB. They have been supporting us since we were established. Sir Ralph Norris is on our Board of Trustees. And in that 32 years, we have provided mentoring support to over 82,000 small business owners, like the people that are on this call and watching the live stream. So that is around about $235 million worth of time that mentors will have gifted. So an incredibly important service for small business. So that's us in a nutshell, Pat. Do you want me just to give a bit of a recap on what's involved in the mentoring?
Would be amazing. I was going to say as well, probably what would be really helpful, and a question that comes up from time to time when people, I guess, are engaging in any service, and I would be especially that for mentoring, is what advice, I guess, do you have for people who are looking at a mentor in terms of what ducks they need to have in a row before coming, or like how do they get the most out of it, would probably be my biggest thought. And I guess, what kind of things they need to have discern from themselves, or can they just come with, all their post-it notes and scribble drawings and be like,
yeah. I think really important that if you think you need a mentor, don't worry about preparing for one. Just get onto our website, which is businessmentors.org.nz. I think if that's not already in the chat, that'd be helpful to pop that in the chat. And I think you've also put a link to actually registering for a mentor. Just come as you are. That's the mentor's job, to help you make sense of the state of your business. So that said, when you have been matched to a mentor, and we have a thing called Choose a Mentor, which enables you to have a hand in choosing your mentor, but we also have about 12 people across the country that will make sure that match is a really good fit. It's a bit like a dating service, really. It's complicated. What we have to do is we have to look at the expertise that is being sought, the expertise of the mentor, the understanding of the sector that the business owner's got, and also the life stage of the business. Are they in startup mode? Are they in a mature stage? Are they looking to exit their business? So it's actually quite complex matching somebody with a mentor. And about 1% of the time we don't get it right, and so we switch out. And there's that soft skill, which is incredibly important too, when you're in effect opening up your soul and your books to a mentor who you've never met before. That empathy and those soft skills and that confidence that they'll be a quality sounding board and somebody to walk alongside you in your challenging days or through challenging growth spurts in the business. It's a really important aspect of the mentor matching.
Cool. Awesome. And in terms of when people have started engaging and they're working with their mentor, what happens sort of like after the initial consultation? Like, how do they track, or how do they communicate? Is it different for each mentor that they're using, or do you have like some kind of progress tracking plan, or how can they sort of stay in touch and update? you know
So
what?
that's a
Am I saying
really
that right?
big question. So let me unpack
Yeah.
that in a few different ways. You might need to remind me what the question was. But the first thing that I want to say is that measuring satisfaction of the business owner is incredibly important to us. Measuring impact is a bit more challenging, but we send a survey out 30 days after we've matched you with a mentor, just to make sure that you're happy with the match, that your mentor's been in touch, that you've been proactive in getting in touch with the mentor. And then we also, so 30 days, 90 days, 120 days, and then again at 11 months, because we have a lot of people that actually re-sign for the same mentor or another mentor. So we have many clients or business owners that have used the business mentoring program that stay in it for years on end, sometimes with the same mentor and sometimes with a different mentor. Now, what we also have is we have a thing called Mentor Hub. So after the mentor's met with you, they'll log notes into the system. And if they are finding an assignment particularly challenging, we can make sure that there's a second mentor that can come in and support that mentor. So what we do find is that business owners basically just want to double their turnover and they think their problems will go away. It's not quite that simple. So often they'll register for a marketing mentor. In actual fact, they might be looking for more of a general management type mentor. So what we do make sure we do is we have a 15 to 20 minute phone call with every business owner that reaches out for a mentor. We have a very good sort of onboarding process where we can identify the needs of the business owner and just make sure that they do match what the business owner actually thinks they want, so that when that match is made, it's a very productive relationship.
Awesome. My other question, I guess, as well is, what stage do you think, like on the business journey, that a mentor probably is most needed? Like I think I was chatting to Warwick a little bit about it, and that's, quite often people feel like they need a bit of help, when they're starting to get in a little bit of trouble, or they're really feeling the crunch, they need to do something. Or do you recommend that it's something people sort of get onto at the start, or what kind of flags pop up for people where they might need to start looking for a mentor, I guess, earlier rather than later?
Well, that's a really good question, and I can tell you, if a flag's popped up, it's not too late to get a mentor, but you should have had one. Every business owner needs a mentor. Is absolutely no question in my mind. And, when I was a chief executive of Business Mentors the first time around 20 years ago, I'll never forget this business owner that rang me from Invercargill, and he said, I'm just at my wit's end. I'm exhausted. I'm working 18-hour days. I'm not enjoying life. I've mortgaged the family home. My marriage is on the rocks. And he was really embarrassed to be putting his hand up looking for a business mentor. And I said to him, do you think you're the only one of these 400,000 business owners that doesn't know everything there is to know about running a business? And he said, are there others? I said, my goodness me, of those 400,000 business owners, all of them need a mentor, including, of course, the business owners that mentor for us. It's so important to have a sounding board, a very different perspective. So, Kat, you and I could go and provide mentoring to the same business, and that business owner's experience would be quite different if you were mentoring them, because you're bringing your life experience and your business experience and your networks to the table, and mine are very different. So if you have a business, you must have a business mentor. I feel very strongly about that. And that's why we just keep that registration fee of $295, which gives them access to our sophisticated matching process. And also, of course, we monitor the quality of our mentors. So one of the questions that I often get asked is, how do I know that my mentor is going to be a good mentor? So you apply to be a mentor with Business Mentors, and it's a bit like a job interview. You need to provide references. We conduct reference checks. We have an interview with you to make sure that you are going to make a quality mentor. It's not as simple as just having the expertise and the business experience. I mentioned the importance of quality listening and being empathetic and really being able to engage with a business owner at any stage in their life cycle or in their business process. And then, of course, they are required to undertake some mentor training. So we have probably 10 to 15 mentor training sessions every year, and they range from sort of mentoring 101 to advanced mentoring to Māori business worldview to digital marketing skills. So we change our training depending on what needs the mentors actually have.
Very cool. That's really cool. I think it's interesting, isn't it? I was thinking about the importance of it. I suppose a lot of us in business, we rely a lot on our family and our friends or fellow friends who have businesses for advice and as a sounding board. But I think probably a key area of value, and I guess entering into a relationship with a business mentor is the impartial perspective, right? And it's they'll tell you how it is, and they're not emotionally involved in your life, and they don't have to try and, I guess, be your friend after a chat as well. Like, they can be really impartial. I think there's a lot of value in that, and that's highly, I think, underrated in this day and age, where when you get a good idea and you ring up your mum and you tell her, and she's like, yeah, go for it, because they just want to support you. Or you go and tell a fellow business person who's probably having a very different experience in their business life, and if they're going through a rough patch, they might give you advice that's a little bit like, nah, that's risky. Or if they're having great windfalls, they might be like, yeah, go for it, and you can be like me. But I suppose, when you are hiring a mentor, that they will give you advice that is based on the facts that you're presenting to them.
I could give you a really good example, actually, Kat, that speaks really well to your excellent point. And I mentored a woman, it must have been 5 years ago now, and she came to me and she, I'm just trying to think how I word this without disclosing anything too much. So her husband had died, and he had a real passion, which he never got to live to fulfill, to develop a business in a particular with a particular idea. And she came to me, and I didn't know her husband had died, but she was talking to me about her business idea, and something was just not stacking up. And I said to her straight up, I said, your heart's not in this. Why are you doing this? And then she burst into tears and she said, actually, it's my husband's dream, and he died recently, and with the insurance money from his passing, I'm going to honour his legacy by establishing this business. What happened in that meeting was she came to the conclusion that she didn't have the interest, the experience, or the networks, or the financial worth to actually get that business off the ground. And so it's not always about keeping the business going. Sometimes it's about nurturing to a close. Not often, but in that particular case, she walked out the door and she gave me a hug and she said, I just feel so free. Thank you for freeing me up to go away and live my life now. And actually knowing that I could have blown the few $100,000 of life insurance that he left for me, and he would be devastated if that had happened to me. So it's not always about growth, but it's always about talking to somebody that actually has business experience.
Absolutely. No, I love that. Thanks for sharing. Hey, I've got some questions in the chat, if you don't mind. So I've got one here asking, how do I get matched to a business mentor? Can I choose my own? Can you talk to us a little bit more about how you pair people up with the right mentor?
Yeah, it's quite a process, but it's a process that our end, not the business owners end, so they can just completely relax. So if they click on the link that's in the chat to, find a mentor, once you've paid your $295, you get access to our pool of available mentors. So I mentioned that we had 1,800 plus mentors. At any one time, there's about sort of 10% of them that are not mentoring for whatever reason. It might be that they've got things going on in their own business or whatever. Then you've got another X% who are not available because they're at capacity. They might have 5 mentee assignments that they've already got underway. Then because a business owner has put in the sector that they're looking for the experience in, or the business experience, or it might be that they're in Nelson and they only want to be mentored face to face. So slowly that 1,800 gets limited down to say 10 mentors, say 20, 50 mentors. And then what you can do is you can go through the mentors. We show a photo of them, their name, their business experience, and a bio. So we don't provide any identifiable information about the mentor. You can create a wish list, and you can put 50 on your wish list if you like. And then you select 3 of those as your preferences. And then you can request your preferred mentor. And through that process, our mentor coordinators or mentor managers are watching how you're selecting. They're looking at who you have, the sort of person you're looking for in your mentor, and they'll say to themselves, that's interesting. Kat, she's chosen Sarah as her mentor, but I see she's also put Jane on her shortlist. Jane would make a better mentor for this particular business owner. And they'll get in touch with you, and they'll say, look, you've selected Sarah and she's got these skills, but actually I know that Jane's, mother was a florist, and I see you're a florist business. So, would this be a better fit for you? Whatever, reason it is. That's probably a silly example. But so we are there watching that match take place and supporting the business owner. And some business owners don't want to choose a mentor. They just want us to make the match, and we're really happy to do that. We always reach out to the mentor to make sure that they're happy to take the match on.
Yeah. Awesome. And what happens if they say they've had the initial meeting and they maybe decided that it's not quite the right one? Is it easy? Like what's it like? Maybe perhaps requesting a different mentor, or does the mentor maybe perhaps suggest that maybe someone else might be more suited?
Sometimes the business owner won't want to say that to the mentor, and that's absolutely fine. The mentors are very happy. They've got a strong relationship with business mentors, and they also know that they've got the success of the business owner at the heart of what they do. So if for some reason the business owner thinks that mentor's not the right fit, we manage that delicately and respectfully. It's really not a problem. What's most important is the business owner is happy with their mentor. If we need to switch a mentor out, we do it about 1% of the time. We're very happy to do that.
Oh, that's awesome. We had another question here, but I think we've kind of already answered it about the credibility of your mentors, and you've talked about your vetting process, so that's really awesome. And the other one is, what happens if my area of needs and support changes halfway through the mentoring relationship?
And that's not a problem. We sort of hope it does, because if you've come to Business Mentors wanting assistance with X, I hope you still don't need that assistance 12 months down the track. So your needs do. They're constantly changing. And remember, I did say that sometimes a mentor will unearth a much bigger issue that you've got. So we change out mentors reasonably often, probably about stab in the dark 7% of the time we'll change out a mentor.
Right.
But our mentors also, if they've been a business owner, they have a wide variety of business experience across many different business processes. As is the case with business ownership, you're often a jack of all trades. Whereas the executives that we take on as mentors, they tend to have a very narrow focus, not in a bad way, in a very deep way, whether it's digital marketing, HR, finance, etc. So we can swap out mentors. And as I mentioned earlier, Kat, we have our 30 days, our 90 days, our 120 days at 11 months. Don't wait for those satisfaction surveys to come. If you're not satisfied, you can get in touch with us at any time. We're very responsive. And as I say, got the business owner's success at the heart of everything we do.
Lovely. That sounds great. And what kind of, I guess there's a bit of a wide question, but what kind of trends are you noticing? Like, obviously it's been going for 3 decades. In terms of how you've seen, I guess, the market for a mentor change over the years, what kind of industries are you hearing from most? Like, is there a most that you're hearing from, or what what's happening there?
That's a really good question. I have to say, generally, there's not a most, because we provide mentoring to such a wide variety of business owners. That said, when COVID hit, it was very much dealing with a business owner's mental well-being. Now, we are not health professionals, but it was about them wanting somebody to bounce ideas off. Suddenly they were pivoting. They were either suddenly their revenues had dried up, or they were facing a business. They had some big issues they weren't used to dealing with that they wanted somebody to engage with. And so we had a real focus on hospitality and tourism over COVID, that peaked. And most of the business owners that rang us in the first 3 months when COVID hit were wanting mentors with experience in digital marketing and digital sales, e-commerce, bringing their business online in a fairly rapid way. So what we did in that case is we were quite proactive, and we had a lot of people reach out to us and say, look, I've recently sold my business, COVID's hit. I'm so glad I sold my business and I'm not dealing with that, that crisis, but how can I help? And some of those people just dipped into Business Mentors as a mentor for a year or two, and they've dipped out again. But generally our mentors stay for at least 10 years.
Right. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Because I think in a way you're not just dealing with people's businesses, you're dealing with their livelihood, right? So it's that fine balance of their well-being. And I think after COVID, business and life and well-being became way more in our conscious awareness, and it's definitely more about our livelihood now and creating that balance. So that's really fabulous.
Yeah, we had a real peak in the Hawke's Bay as well when the floods hit. So we really stepped up there and offered $20,000 worth of free registrations to any business owner that was impacted in the Hawke's Bay, in fact, by the weather events across the country, Auckland included. And there was a real spike. And very important that we provide some wraparound services for our mentors so that they are not feeling overwhelmed by the mental health challenges that some business owners were facing then.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's really important, and I think that a lot of what happened in COVID and what happened with the floods was it taught us a lot about, I guess, where some of the gaps were in our businesses and gaps in our support systems as well. And so I can definitely see why that would have been quite an increase as well, and needing some extra support. But hey, we haven't got any more questions at this point. Is there anything else you would like to chat about before we close? I've popped a bunch of links in for everyone. So I put links on Facebook and LinkedIn and in the chat, guys, for Sarah's personal profiles on LinkedIn and Facebook, but then also how to register your interest for a business mentor. And there's a link there to the website. If anyone else has any questions about anything at all, feel free to email us at support@digitalboost.co.nz. I'll also pop the link in as well to our Digital Boost community page, which would be really cool to see some more of you on there. But Sarah, is there anything else you'd like to say? Feel free to pop it in.
Yeah, I think probably for me, if I was to wrap it up, it would be $295 for 12 months of an experienced business mentor to walk alongside you, to be a sounding board. It can be face-to-face, it can be virtual. And really, I just want to say two other things. The first is, if you log on to our website, you can register for Small Business Insights. So we run webinars as well, and we put out a monthly newsletter which has wonderful case studies and blogs and tips and tricks on how to grow your business and how to be a fabulous business owner. And then just finally, great thanks to our partners, Digital Boost, ASB Bank, IRD, MB, One New Zealand. We have a myriad of partners that make the service accessible for business owners. So just deeply grateful to them.
Oh, that's amazing. It's been absolutely fabulous having you here, Sarah. Thank you so much for telling us so much about it. It's just incredible how long you guys have been going. And if you could put all the people in the room that you've helped over the years, wouldn't that be amazing to hear some of the stories? If anyone has any questions, please feel free to email us or comment on Facebook and we'll get to them. Also, feel free to reach out to Sarah directly as well and through Business Mentors website. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. And we'll hear from you soon, I'm sure. Have a great day. Thank you, Sarah.
Great